Welcome to the latest Motley Fool scoreboard. I'm on in Chocolate Balloon. We've got longtime fools, Travis Hoyam and Matt Frankel, giving a 1 to 10 rating to a top 200 stock in the primary Hidden Gems database. It's ASML, ticker symbol ASML. Rate the strength of ASML's business first, including factors like industry and competition. 10 is invincible, 1 is hopeless, a 9 for Matt, a 9.9 for Travis.
Yeah, this is about as close as a 10 as it gets, because this is basically a monopoly business in extreme ultraviolet or EUV machines. This is the machinery that you have to build kind of a modern fabrication stack with, the TSMC is a huge customer of theirs. So I love what they're doing. The question is, how far can they push pricing power? I mean, that's really the only question you have with their machines that cost several $100 million. And from a risk standpoint, there's no real risk, I don't think, of replacing what they do today. The question is the process going to change for making chips, because they are kind of the choke point for extracting value from the value chain. We don't see that today, but maybe we'll get to that a little bit when we get to valuation.
Yeah, I said a 9. I was really close to a 10 also. I mean, Travis hit the nail on the head with the essential monopoly on the EUV systems. One interesting statistic I read, an industry report came out that it would cost someone else over $100 billion in R&D expenses and take about 10 years to catch up to their technology. And ASML simultaneously is investing like $3 billion a year to keep ahead of all the other guys. So they essentially have a moat that can't be overtaken. Solid balance sheet, great R&D spending, should keep them well ahead of rivals for a foreseeable future.
It's a very, very good position to be 2 levels upstream from NVIDIA. For management, a 10 is
Yeah.
Warren Buffett, a 1 is Homer Simpson, Matt's at a 9, Travis, you're at an 8.
Yeah, Christophe Fouquet, kind of keeping things going with ASML. The only reason that I didn't go a little bit higher here is because I want to see a leader who has done something amazing, right? Like built the next iPhone or come up with a new business model. He's really keeping things going as they are. So, Matt's right. That's probably the right thing to do, is like keep expanding that moat, spend on R&D, make sure that nobody's going to be able to do what you do better. But so 8, very, very high, but I'm not going to go any higher because he wasn't necessarily the one that, built the business that we know today.
Yeah, I mean, I gave it a 9, and we're very aligned here. I mean, what the smartest thing you can do is if you inherit a business that's a 10, is to not try to change things, and that's exactly what Fouquet's doing.
He's like the Tim Cook of equipment.
He's sticking with a winning formula, and I really can't fault him for that.
Yeah, he's not out there trading Luka Doncic or anything. For financials, a 10 is a fortress, a 1 is yikes, Matt's at a 9, Travis, you're at a 7.
Yeah, looking at their financials, I came away a little less impressed than I think you would think on the surface. We've talked about it, huge moat around the business. They're not going to be replaced. The question is, how quickly are you going to be able to grow? How many more machines are you going to be able to make? They are kind of a bottleneck in expanding global semiconductor manufacturing. They've only grown revenue at 15% compounded annual growth rate since 2021. So we talk about how impressive this company is, but it is not a 30, 40, 50% revenue growth company. And that's why I had to knock it down a little bit. Margins are really good, both on a gross and operating side. Hard to argue with that, but I would like to see more growth to get a little bit higher score.
Yeah, I mean, I said a 9. Very little debt, great margins. Travis is right. I mean, earnings growth is strong, but it's not, in the context of the semiconductor space, maybe not so much. Massive backlog of orders was one of my favorite things about them financially. Good revenue visibility, lots of cash on the balance sheet. There's not much bad I could say other than maybe I'd like growth to be a little higher.
Yeah, I mean, I think those two things are linked, right? The only 15% growth because there's a big backlog of orders that you're not quite getting to. Matt, let's talk valuation. How well will ASML stock do over the next 5 years? How safe is it? 10's a sure thing, 1's a lottery ticket.
Yeah, I said 10 to 15%, which might actually sound a little bit low for a monopolistic company in the semiconductor space. Give it a safety score of 7. It trades for nearly 50 times earnings, so it's not a cheap stock, especially for one with, like Travis said, a 15% annualized growth rate since 2021. So there is a lot of future growth priced in, I think is very fair to say. Recent results have been strong and beaten expectations, but if that's not the case in the future, it could really weigh on this stock.
Yeah, the real risk here is going to be multiple compression. So that's why I went relatively low on an expectation standpoint, and also the safety score with just 5. Let me just give you a couple numbers here. Over the past 10 years, we talked about that growth rate, 17% compound annual growth rate. So that's really the strength of their business has been in the past 10 years, and there's still a sub 20% growth rate. And what investors are paying is now 42 times forward earnings estimates, 46 times trailing earnings. So that's an expensive price to pay. I think the real risk here is that the companies that are ultimately their customers are saying, hey, we got to figure out ways to either be more efficient with our existing equipment, or maybe kind of figure out ways to work around these very expensive pieces of equipment that we don't want to keep having to buy and being under ASML's thumb. Eventually, that choke point usually changes in the semiconductor supply chain, so that risk is why I went a little bit lower.
Thank you both Travis and to Matt. They've given ASML a strong overall score of 7.6 out of 10. No topics for Matt, but Travis prefers Taiwan Semi. Look out for a new scoreboard every market day at 7 p.m. Eastern. Next up is ServiceNow. Till then, Fool on.